Hello, everyone. I'm Ronan Chain, and welcome back to the Syndicate, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, and hey, y'all, we're talking about Maul Shadow Lord, chapter 7 and 8, Call to the Oblivion and the Creeping Fear. Uh, Fortunately, just me for today. The fellas are either busy or couldn't get a hold of them. But if you have any questions or thoughts, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer anything, or if you found something that I didn't. But this is the weird part we're at right now with this show is that y'all are now cut up to what I've seen weeks and weeks ago. So I've had to bite my tongue about the notion of like, you're getting a call from Crimson Dawn, Dryden Voss would like would like to talk to you. And the notion of a sequence like this one with Maul going through trauma. I've been biting my tongue of like, when can I talk about this? And now I can. And so a lot of good stuff in this week's batch of episodes. And this is the penultimate batch of Star Wars episodes from Maul Shadow Lord season 1. So that should be an intriguing notion to see at. Killing matches everything. Darth Sidious. Eyes. How you doing, Jeffrey? But yeah, folks. The episode chapter 7 starts off with Maul and Devon and Riley making their way to the tunnel and knowing that, like, okay, you've seen what the Inquisitors are. Those are the enemies. Those are the worst guys. I may be a bad guy, but those are the worst guys. So what does that mean for the rest of the universe, of the galaxy? Like, do you want to really go on this on your own, or come play ball with me and we can fight back? I have a plan. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but I have a plan. So that's where we are with this show right now, and I'm done digging that notion that juxtaposition between ideologies thus far, and the notion that Maul opened up to Devon, of like, you said your Maul abandoned you. Is he still alive? Unfortunately. Oh, I loved it. Harrison James, Baby Savage was not my bingo card. Fire remark. Open canvas for episode 2. I need it on my wall. Yeah, man. We'll get to it. I promise. And you see how, like, even Rook is just like not testing, but like giving feedback to Maul, like, we should be out of here by now. Why do you keep hampering on this Padawan? He's like, you know what you can do. We need her. And being like, okay, yeah, sure, it'd be nice weapon, but we have a whole batch of people, and they're not getting paid. And mercenaries can only latch on for so long. I've been devoted to you, so don't question my loyalty, but question the rest. Because without them, we don't have an army. We don't have a plan. And I love that vibe that we've been getting with Rook and Maul, and also the notion that Lawson and Master Deki have been not warming up to each other, but understanding each other. The notion that even Lawson tells him, like, when I first heard about all the Jedi betrayals, I didn't buy that. I used to hang out with one of you guys, so it never made sense to me. And I love that Deki's like, that means a lot to me. I appreciate that. So that was a sweet moment. Jeffrey says, okay, I'm here to talk, Maul. Nice. Yeah, if you have any questions, if you notice something, let me know. I'm going to be here for only like 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. And then unless somebody else shows up who's a friend / creator who wants to talk, I'm more than happy to talk to them. But now we'll probably end it at 30 minutes or 40 minutes, depending on how we go. But we also get the notion that, no, Devon and Riley are not gonna, be in cahoots with Maul, and Maul makes love. My patience is wearing. Join me or not, it is your own doom. And I love that for a second, Devon and Maul duke it out again, but the Empire is on their asses, and now Maul has to fence him off. And then Devon, I think, in her frustration, and sees a clear enemy that she does not like at all, despises, either subconsciously or consciously teams up with Maul for a quick second, and they're both, flashing, reversing blasters hits to the Empire. And I was like, yo, that's the first inkling of Maul experiencing what it's like to having another fellow saber wielder on his side, and the young one, a potential Padawan. And obviously Riley gets taken, and it's a whole batch with even with two boots of like, I think everything's going really well. And I heard a lot of the internet being like, oh, two boots, what are you doing? What's wrong with you and not? And I get it, but you need, especially a droid who has this much compassion, could be easily fooled and now is learning the hard way about like, no, the Empire is not what it is. Same thing with Riley, him saying, what are we doing? Dude, the Empire here. Like, no, the Empire not what you think. And this episode 7, Call to the Oblivion, was a big eye opener for a lot of people. And the notion that Merrick, made his call, and the call was answered, but it wasn't what a lot of us were expecting thus far. And we got the Crow, which I believe is the 11th, 9th brother, 7th brother. Chat, correct me. But I just know that that's the same Inquisitor that appears in Tales of the Jedi that dukes it out with Ahsoka, if you even want to call it a duel, and also is sprinkled in Tales of the Empire when we hang out with Barriss Offee's story. So that was sweet to see them, be like, oh shit, this is the Grim Reaper over here has made his way now, and now there's 2 Inquisitors on Janix. What the hell does that mean for the police department, and now for both our Jedi and Maul's organization? Harrison James said that episode 7, I understood that, Harrison. Sam killed in these 2 episodes some of the most complex Maul we've ever gotten. I 100% agree. 100% agree. Do you think it's possible to get a fight between Maul and Darth Vader depending on how far they go with this show? Good question. Ninth brother, I think. Cool. The best Inquisition have ever looked as well. I agree. I think visually and also the presence has never been so much more scary or frightening or dangerous than in this show. At all. And more than Tales of, more than Ahsoka, more than Obi-Wan. Like, this is the show that I'm like, all right, this is why the Inquisitors are cool. And if you think about it, it's effed up when you know their origins. So like, who might these individuals would have been before they donned the black and kneeled to the Empire. And yeah, so we see that Two Boots is making his remarks, and we see now that Maul knows, okay, I got to get the hell out of here. It's getting too crowded. I got to regroup and recontextualize my my plan. And we see now that Maul is now up against the 2 Inquisitors head on. And I love this shot of like his right hand is right there, right next to him, and he goes and lights up. And man, the lightsaber stuff we got in these episodes, whew, and starting off with episode 7, my God, phenomenal stuff. Just gorgeous. And shout out to Keith Kellogg and the rest of the animation crew. Anybody who worked on lighting, anyone who worked on the sound mixing, the Skywalker sound crew led by David Collins. Shout out to all y'all. Like, it is just gorgeous. And each week, each of these episodes, even though for me Rebels is still my show, that's like a big part of my DNA now, post Revenge of the Sith time of Star Wars, this show goes right up there with Rebels for completely different reasons and doing different stuff, in my opinion. And I love the Bad Batch. You've seen my coverage. If you have, you've seen my coverage of the Bad Batch. If you haven't, go watch it. You've seen my coverage of Tales of, the anthology series. I love that series as well. It's a piece of art. But this show is doing something wild where it's like it brings in the muscle that Clone Wars, Bad Batch, and Tales of build, and they sprinkle in some spice and some tequila of Andor's tone and vibe, and even aesthetic with using practical sets. And they threw into this one. We're like, okay, we're gonna use matte paintings. We're gonna use old paintings. We're gonna shoot live action footage. And we're gonna use it as reference to the animation. And you feel that with these frames. You feel that with these moments of pure emotion with the character and seeing how they're processing themselves for either action, thought process, or thinking. And I love that about that. Oh my gosh, people shut up. Thank you so much. Paula 1966 says, hello, I have some questions do you think Keanu Reeves would play a great Darth Revan? I think he would make a great Darth Revan. But I also hope that I have to be able to see and feel Revan and not, I can't see Neo or John Wick. It has to feel like Revan. And so I think Keanu could pull it off, but it is a feat. And it's going to be like on his part. And if they were to do this, that like, okay, what can we do to let people know that it's a character? And it just happens to be by one of the coolest and best human beings, as far as we know, Keanu Reeves, who has a presence. And I think it is possible. Tegan Neal says that the penultimate hour of Monday Night Maul, sponsored by Brothers Bond Cantina. Nice, dude. Nice. Keyblade Jeffrey says, I also believe Sam voiced Sidious in this episode too. Trust me, we're getting there. We're getting there, Jeffrey. I promise. Do you think the pink Twilight Devon and Maul Shadow Lord will become Darth Talon? I think that it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think so. Now, whether they use the name, whether they use the same visuals, I think that in itself will take time to get to and feel earnest. Because if by the end we get it like that, it's gonna be like, oh, it's a quick turn. I think no. If she does become Maul's Padawan, I think there has to be a transition point of view and process, and that's where we might get eventually Darth Talon. Even though she's been acting like said character for a while, a season or two, I think you have to get to that moment and make that moment earn visually, because we've been caring for her and hoping that she doesn't turn bad this whole time. Because we do, at least I care for Master Deki. So if it just goes like that 180 at the finale, I'm like, we got to get to that. It's got to feel earned, in my opinion. We spent a whole season of television in The Mandalorian season 2 getting from Boba Fett showing up with just his Tusken Raider physique and clothing to when he gets the suit. So that's got to feel earned. If she isn't become Darth Talon, that's got to feel earned visually, in my opinion. I've heard that Abeloth might be coming to Ahsoka season 2, and Natalie Portman might be returning as Padme, and Abeloth will take her form to deceive Anakin. I've theorized about Abeloth ever since that finale shot with Balin Skull. So I think that's also a big part of possibility, especially if you bring up the Mortis gods, the Mortis trilogy. How can you not tackle that in essence? Especially when there's pieces missing of that mountain terrain structure. And I hope Natalie comes back as Padme in some form or fashion, and that would be both badass and bleak as hell if Abeloth takes form of Padme Amidala to deceive Anakin as a Force ghost. That would be punk rock and yet wild, and I hope that that's a possibility that they can lean into, in my opinion. I also like how the Inquisitors don't really work together when fighting, since they both want to kill the Empress Vader. To impress Vader. Well, here's the thing that I think that yes, there is a notion of Vader rivalry, but they both, I think by the time we get to this episode 7's ending, they both know that, like, okay, Maul is strong, he has presence, but we're seeing something that's pulling him back, which is that knee and that side of his leg. Okay, we distract him, force push him, you stab him, and then just intimidation. And I think they were lusting on that dark side of like showing you are defeated. We're gonna take our time defeating you, and knowing that like we're not taking any prisoners. That no time or space for surrender, and that you're gonna be a trophy potentially. So I love that. So that's a valid point, I think. Jeffrey says, "Do so good." I agree. The outskirts Janek setting with the greenish so beautiful. Again, I agree so much to the artist. Even for people who are just spending time on the background stuff, it's not missed. I hope if anybody at Lucasfilm or ILM is watching this, please, if you are, oh my gosh, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this guy and his stream in his corner on YouTube and in this galaxy. But know that I am noticing stuff, whether it's the clouds when the Imperial Star Destroyer is on the sky, whether it's when Maul is on the ground on a puddle and seeing the reflection and seeing the details in his gloves. Or again, like we're talking about Call of Oblivion, when the Inquisitors jump through that waterfall and the simmering of the saber is there, and that's a call back to Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. Like that is no detail is gone unnoticed. And the cool thing about the show is that it's gonna be rewatchable. And I rewatched the show, and so there's stuff that sometimes I pick up that I didn't pick up the first time when I'm reacting or watching the show. So I agree. Tigno says the first brother and 11th brother got too cocky and it allowed Maul to escape using Sidious mid-air saber spin how to do it. Okay. So this is going to switch now to episode 8. But before we do that, yes, Maul goes toe-to-toe with the Inquisitors. He gets his ass kicked. And sadly in the process, Icarus, I haven't gotten Icarus yet in Funko Pop. But Icarus, one of the Zabrak's brother, goes to help Maul and buys him a moment, but is killed. And you see immediately Maul's PTSD kicks back because he's thinking of Savage. And when Icarus' brother is tossed, you hear poor Icarus yelling, "Brother!" I love that ending, and I love the quote unquote surrendering and being like, the Emperor wants you dead. Likewise, brings out the stones and boom, which then cuts to our episode 8. And like you were saying, Tingle, he does the Sidious's midair spin, which I was like, another, again, it was a Rick Dalton moment. Like, oh, I was like, oh, I know that. I know where that's from. And shout out to the sound design team and whoever chose to do that. That is awesome. That is fuel poor. Like that's like, all right, that's a move in the Sith that they done that. We've only seen it once, so that was awesome. Awesome. When Maul said, I am the Phantom Menace and shouted at council, I cried. Hope you're feeling better, Jordan. Hope you're feeling better, man. So did I, Chainsaw. How are you feeling? I'm feeling like crap. Jeffrey's so fun. Yeah, hope you feel better. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Feel better, Jordan. Feel better. I see the season-long Casablanca reference between Rick and Elsa. Brandon and Rena played itself out, and it's been without help. Man, listen. Where do I have it? Hold on. Do I have Casablanca here? Shame on me. I should know exactly where Casablanca is because it's one of my favorite movies. Here we go. Foundational. I 100% concur, Teague. The whole Rena and Brandon stuff. I hope I'm behind the comics, and I might go pick up an issue tomorrow or during Free Comic Book Day and just pick up what I missed out on the comic book. But I hope that the comic does dive into that. I hope it does dive into that. And like, I'm not saying I want a full-on love scene in a comic book, but it has been tackled. If you go watch, go read Shadow Empire, we see the Damerons, Poe's parents, making it. And so I would not be surprised if Brandon Lawson showed some love to Rena in that way. And it would make perfect sense. And you brought up Casablanca. I'm going to reference something that y'all should be watching if you're all digging the noir, Brandon Lawson, detective, crime, pulp side of this show. I'm going to recommend... There we go. I'm going to recommend Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious. Highly recommend it. You should go watch this. They did do an episode like Notorious in the Clone Wars, but it is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it might be my favorite Hitchcock movie, maybe, although I do love The Birds and North by Northwest and Psycho. Anyways, but I recommend that film as well. But yeah, I 100% agree. 100% agree. I just eat that stuff up so much. I love noir stuff, which is why, shameless plug, but if you are not subscribed to my channel or haven't seen it yet, go subscribe to my channel. I did a reaction with my friend Samuel Leggett from Team JVS. We did a reaction to the newest Spider Noir trailer, and you best believe that we're going to do our best to cover that show when it comes out because it's Spider-Man, but for me, it's noir. It's a black and white show, so obviously 100%. Jeffrey says, you're welcome. The water animation was amazing in this episode. Guys, we're going over, but we're at episode 8. Whenever we're in this sequence, my God, just him falling down and looking at himself is just like, this show's so good and I love it and I want it on physical media. I really do hope the animators got time to do what they do best and they got paid for it well. I really hope Lucasfilm now under Dave Filoni and Lynn. I feel like a bastard not knowing her name. I should be learning her name now. But Dave Filoni and I believe Lin Wen or something like that, who are co-president now, are making it be like, okay, we are going to do art. We're going to push stuff in the direction, but we are not going to let anybody not be given crunch time or not be uncredited. Like, I really hope that the people working on this show who are working their asses off are getting validation. And I think from what I've been seeing of reactions, people respect and are noticing that. So please, if you're watching the show, know that we're not unnoticing stuff. We notice those details, and that goes a long way for a lot of us, especially for a lot of us who watch either animation shows or anime stuff all the time. So I appreciate that. Paula 1966 says, I always wondered in Star Wars Rebels Twilight of the Apprentice when the Sith temple exploded on Malachor and Vader walked away, if he ever looked back at the destroyed temple thinking about Ahsoka. I don't think he did. And I think the only time he thought about her was in that sequence when, Ahsoka. Because, and I do believe that, like, he, in no way, shape, or form can he start turning until he realizes that the kid who blew up the Death Star is named Skywalker. That's when the crack should be going into not just the helmet, but to the character's, the machine's spirit. And I also have to think of where the timeline's at, because Obi-Wan Kenobi show, he tackles his old master, and in Rebel he tackles his old apprentice, and they both cut off sides of his helmet. So I'm wondering, you know what? I'll give you this spotlight. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I don't think he was thinking about that, because he just made it out, and he was happy to make it out, and he felt like, all right, something good must have happened. She must have gone away, because by that point, I don't think he has ever heard of Ahsoka again after that encounter in Malachor. So that's what I'm going to go with. Dylan Brother Crow, fighting style is going to bite him in a few years' time when he crosses Teen Ahsoka. Maul screams of pain, being almost childlike, was a great touch, followed by the scenes he talks to his inner reflection. I hate you. It's all right. I forgive you. Yeah. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring up the visuals, or maybe I'll try and I couldn't do it. But yeah, the notion of Maul doing what Luke went through in Dagobah in the cave, and also what Rey goes through in The Force Awakens when she touches Luke and Anakin's saber and her visions. Like, I love that even Maul got something like that, but it wasn't 4K, it wasn't 8K, and not in the sense like it looked good or bad or not. Like, it was through like dust being thrown at him and just seeing pixels of visions of his flashback of, like, Savage, Sidious. So I love that. I was not expecting that. And here's the weird thing. Like I said, I was very fortunate to see this show a few weeks ago, way before it came out, or started to come out. So when they started doing press and they were hinting at, like, people were gapping, is there something you guys really want, can't wait to see the fans experience or hear about? And they kept saying there's something that happens in episode 8, which was, I think, something that either Sam Witwer recommended or someone came up with, and they were like, ooh, we're gonna run with that. I remember hearing that and being like, oh shit, I know what they're talking about, but I can't say a damn word. And it was just, again, if I hate doing this, but I'm doing this, but like, please go watch my reaction. The only thing I feel bad about the reaction, I wish I had Busy with me, but again, timing it was on our side to share that experience with somebody else. But like, I almost cried, y'all. I got pretty teary eye. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, Maul is pulling my strings. Of all people, Maul, like, he's a badass, and like I like following the character. He's a bad guy, I know that, but like, wow, the sympathy he's going through. And yes, I think somebody else, I think it might have been Teague or Harrison, somebody, of like, Sam also voiced Sidious, you next strike me, and seeing that he was put through the ringer, and just that notion that like Maul going and accepting that like he was used as a tool, and confronting that. I love that angle. Him not, and this wasn't even a turncoat. It wasn't him becoming a good guy. Just saying like, no, I was used as a kid as a tool, bended, tortured, and it's not the Jedi's fault. And that's why I loved about when they used the sound effect. Again, kudos to Skywalker sound and ILM. The which is like the closing of the doors in Abu, and you hear no, and it's Kenobi, and it's just a dark figure in darkness, and a green saber just. I love that poetry. That felt like him accepting, like, oh my gosh, I didn't, him in that moment, and these past two like flashbacks, he was being tortured, and then he felt the sadness of another person he had just tortured because he had killed their master. And it's almost like I don't even want to say he wanted to say, maybe he wanted to say sorry, like, like, Kenobi, I'm sorry, and at this point in his life, he's like, I was made this way. I didn't, who knows if as a kid he wanted to beat up the Jedi or that, but like, it was like, Sidious turned me into this. This was Sidious doing, not mine. And just regret, anger, sadness, and again, someone said it, Sam's performance. I messaged Matt Mignowitz. I messaged some people like, yo, kudos to you with the material you've been giving to both Vanessa Marshall as Rook Cast and Sam Witwer. I'm like, yo, did this. Oh, I love that. And Yeah, man. I also, again, shout out to Rookcast. Listen, I have been obsessed with this character ever since they were announced she was gonna be in the show. I remember her from the Son of Dathomir, which, if you can see there, little peek, I have some of the original pages from, I think, her first appearance. So that's a cool thing in my collection. And the notion of her taking command when Maul's not there and telling her, like, her follower, like, we're gonna go here and we're gonna wait and hopefully he can catch up to us. And she has a moment, a nice sweet moment with Icarus of putting her hand on his shoulder and her not even saying the word, but like basically saying, I'm sorry about your loss. Like don't think we don't take that like his loss was unnoticed. Like, we know we lost a fellow brother in arms, and that was just such a sweet moment to take that for a character. Uh, I adored it, and it gave me more respect for her as an individual. And again, just shout out to Vanessa Marshall for having that presence there, in my opinion. So I really love that moment. Harrison James says that on which Clone Wars episode is a spin on it? I don't know. It might have been, man, season 5 ending when Maul and Savage go against Sidious. I just know the spin move. I remembered instantly from Revenge of the Sith. That's why. That's why it came to me, because I remember that spin and also the yell, "Ah," the very Sith scream from Sidious. That's where I got that connection from. Tino says the Lost Tower reference during Maul's memory sequence. Yeah, again, go. I implore people, go watch these movies and this stuff. If you like what they're doing with the show, it's because they're cinephiles and there's people of pop culture who are taking stuff that, like, let's do this, like, into that dark sensibility for a story with a character who has a tragic past and even potential. I'm not gonna say it, but yeah. Also, this episode was also phenomenal because Two Boots stepped up. Demon met up with Dickie and Lawson, Brandon, and now they got to get Riley out. And they make the deal with Two Boots of, like, all right, I'll step in if you get Riley out. He doesn't want Riley to be rotting in a jail cell with the Imperials. And I love the conviction that Demon has. Like, no, I let Riley get captured. I'm gonna go get him with Demon, with you or without you, Master. And I love that Deki was even a little proud of her. Like, no, we gotta help the people. Even in the Dark Time, we gotta do our best to help as much as we can, even if they put our lives in danger. And I love that Two Boots finally stepped up, because I know people were like, Two Boots, you fucking idiot. What are you doing? So that was awesome. That was awesome. And making their way of, like, forget the deal. And, Riley, I am rescuing you. So that was a sweet, sweet moment. And I love that even when they were trying to make their way escape, and again, that escape, the action in this show is some of the best they've done thus far. And with the music, the technical music, that's the Kiners doing their thing, doing that magic that they do with music, and Demon taking the lead of, like, all right, I'm gonna find a car, I'm gonna get the hell out of here. And the master being like, no, we gotta be quiet. That's how the Jedi do it. It's like, no, well, yes, that's how the Jedi do it, but if you want to escape, we gotta do it this way. And making a ruckus through downtown Janix was awesome, and it felt very, very cyberpunkish, which I love. And again, I love that even Rena saying, like, I have a transport out, but you have to be here in 2 hours. And when they get close, Devon feels the disturbance of, like, something's off. And Lawson, like, she wouldn't betray me. And they're like, just check. And I love that Rena, even in her crosshairs with the Imperial, she gives him the code of, like, that planet Kendar or wherever planet they had a big history with, and that's what tips him off. Like, no, yeah, she's compromised. We gotta get the hell out of here. And the fact that she almost risked her life again to sabotage the Imperial's presence there and let people just spread out and scatter, that was awesome in my opinion. Jeffrey says that I hope more flashbacks like this. I hope for more flashbacks like this. I do too, but it's got to be at the right time with the right material in it. If we get getting flashbacks each season for every three episodes, then it's not going to have the same weight that it did when we watched this for the first time. So they got to be very careful about that. I would like maybe two more flashbacks, but you hold off and wait. Maybe until next season's finale episodes. Because if you over exaggerate it, it's gonna get the weight of these moments are gonna just drop, in my opinion. Tigo said, what's funny? When you think about the Inquisitors training by Vader as hunters, that Ahsoka was the first person he trained in quasi Sith fighting style during the Clone Wars helped her. I agree. It's why she survived the Order 66, because she wasn't trained the same way that everybody else has, with just droids and stuff. No, he taught her different ways, and she got the upper hand. Doesn't mean she wasn't in danger. Of course, she was in danger, but she got the upper hand because she was put to the ringer, and that's why she's unique. She is unique in that aspect and very empowering, in my opinion. Jeffrey said, I said that. I really want Starkiller to become canon. Who knows, my friend? Again, you saw, I believe, when Maul was stretching and using a saber around in episodes 6, 5, when Rook says you have to see this, and he notices that the Inquisitors are investigating his whereabouts. I think those were reference to Starkiller from Force Unleashed, like the moves he was doing to stretch, practicing his forms. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see more. And, maybe I know that in the next episodes, you might see another Starkiller reference. I don't know. You didn't hear that from me. I don't know. We'll leave it there. Tigoro said that when Devon is talking about her fear and not letting it overpower you applies to Maul, as he has been in a mental prison built around the fear that Sidious caused him. That fear caused rage, filled cycles that Maul keeps repeating. Yep. Sadly poetic. Sadly poetic. Yeah. Harrison James says that, oh no, I meant that Alfred Hitchcock movie you recommended, LOL. No, Harrison. Both Casablanca and Notorious are similar in DNA and what they would have been inspiration for Rena and Brandon. No. Casablanca, absolutely. And Notorious, absolutely. Two Boots makes the decision to rebel once he learned the captain was killed after her interrogation back in episode 5. Yeah, I mean, it was. I like to think that also his sneakers were a big. We're like, what? My part of my identity is shifted, but he seemed fine by it. There was no, the Empire, who you believed in, are breaking protocol on a Linlong basis. So maybe listen to Lawson next time, because he's been around the corner. So that's what I think. Jet Ted PVT. I like how Spybot purrs like a kid when they say "Maw." Yeah. Again, he's a wild, dangerous cat, if you will. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I like how Devon is behaving more like Maul, and her decision making during this block of episodes can't be unnoticed by Ikodaki. Yeah, 100%. And like again, I have not seen the last 2 episodes. My only thing is that if Master Ikodaki unfortunately is no longer with us, and he has a moment with Maul, knows like, okay, Maul's gonna try to do his best to corrupt her, but she has this identity thing that I don't think she would go full Sith, but she might linger in that middle between the dark and the light. And I think he might even ask Maul, no matter what happens or what you teach my apprentice, she'll be my apprentice. But I wouldn't be surprised if Master Ikodaki asked him, just promise me you'll keep her safe, promise me you'll protect her. And maybe there's a slice moment of peace between a Jedi and a former Sith of like, I'll give you my word, I will look after her. And like, that's it. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. That'd be awesome. That'd be punk rock and metal, in my opinion. Shocking Eyes. Yeah. And but yeah, Maul makes it back to his group, and Devon, Ikodaki, Lawson's 2 Boots are on the run, and Maul meets up with the other former gangster's lair who got shot up in the first episode. And the little guy was like, they're not going to suspect this. They're not going to suspect. They might go sit in my place, but they're not going to suspect this place. And the thing I have been hoping for the longest time, y'all. The longest fucking time. And when it happened, again, it's one of the moments I had to bite my tongue. Like, I just got an interesting call. Oh, the Pike Syndicate. No, that was a individual from Crimson Dawn. Dryden Voss would like to have an audience with you. And when that shit happened, y'all, I lit up like madness. I was like, oh shit, we're getting Crimson Dawn. What I've been wanting since I walked out of Solo. The whole Crimson Dawn stuff is my favorite stuff in Solo. Bar none. Kira, Dryden, the first light ship. I've been wanting that all day long. I wanted a Crimson Dawn show, and I've peeked here and there in the comics where they do bring up Kira and Crimson Dawn post New Hope, in my opinion. I think, and listen, man, they have a model that they use in Siege of Mandalore, even though there's no voice to it. And Paul Bettany is a Star Wars fan. I would be shocked if he doesn't have a moment in these next 2 episodes. And I've seen a shot in one of the trailers promotions where like Maul is on a desk and he just stands up like this, and I think there's like a little bit of blue light reflecting on him. I don't know if anybody else seen this footage. I'm pretty sure he's talking to Dryden in that moment. And if we get Paul Bettany and maybe even Emilia Clarke talking, oh, you can make this Crimson Dawn fan go, oh yes. And I think there's a whole nother tapestry that they have still to unlock with Crimson Dawn and Kira and Dryden Voss, in my opinion. Like, give Emilia Clarke and Paul Bettany more material to do in Star Wars, and they can make those characters potentially fan favorites, in my opinion. They could do what they did for Mon Mothma with Andor and Rebels for Kira and Dryden Voss with this show, in my opinion. It might be a stretch, but that's how I feel about it. Jeffrey says that, what character would you like to see Maul go up against that we haven't seen yet in Star Wars but is in comics or other media? Listen, and they have to be very careful if they do use this character. If they bring up Vader in this show, they have to be very precise with timing and presence. You can't use them too much, especially in this period, because you want to keep some of that mystery going. But for any Rebels fans, we know that Maul has heard of the shadow figure, this figure and whatnot. Doesn't say him by name, but you could tell he's heard about Vader. How does that come to play? We'll see. So I think Vader would be a fascinating character he could go up against as a one-off. And I would like to see Maul and his crew cost the Empire some chaos, but not be in cahoots with all the rebel cells. I like the notion that, like, okay, there's rebel cells causing chaos, and then there's this old presence from the past causing their own chaos through the underworld. And so I would like to see that like from 2 different fronts, the Empire is getting crippled even from year 1. In my opinion, that there's informants, there's spies and whatnot. So I would like that. And again, I don't need to see a lot of the big rebel leaders in this show, but the notion like, okay, there's these rebel cells going on. Just reference them and that's it. Like, no, we're not going to help them, but we have a common enemy and we're going to leave them to do their shit. They got to figure that out. We're going to do our shit and figure it out. So I would like that angle for Maul Shadow Lord. Oh, how I could forget the Voss name drop. Let's go. Exactly. Come on, Harry Games. Come on. Jeffrey says, yeah, from Solo. Exactly. The marketing machine for Shadow Lord has been a 24-hour cookout cafe. I implore people, be careful with what you watch these next few trailers. Even the clip that came out today, I think, or yesterday, I would encourage people not to watch it. Even I'm not covering it because I already seen some of that footage in the trailers, and I'm like, all right, I don't want to know more. We gotta wait only a few more days, and then we'll be in the clear to check it out and do a reaction and review for it. Jet Ted says that hopefully we get a Force at least 3 someday. You never know. The possibilities right now are endless. And I think that they might make some more video game announcements come Celebration next year in LA. I wouldn't be surprised. Dryden Vision, nice. I want the Crimson Dawn trilogy comics to be incorporated into the coming seasons. Again, tapestry. Unlimited potential. I'm telling y'all. Playing through Outlaws myself right now, more Crimson Dawn would be awesome. Agreed. I mean, again, Emilia is phenomenal. And, I don't even have to say Game of Thrones stuff, but again, if people feel how they feel about Solo, I like Solo. It's not the best movie, but I like Solo and what it did. And again, one of the things was Crimson Dawn and Kira and Dryden Voss. And to me, there's so much you can do with those characters that people don't have too much expectations go into them. I might have because I'm a fucking nerd. But let's be honest. People right now are more worried with Mandalorian and Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka and all this stuff. But like, all right, they're them. And I'm excited for them as well. But there's these other angles much like those characters when they started, that you can throw in and do a whole lot and build up more and more and more, and make them build them up just as big as those characters if the time comes. I think that Vader is used. It would have to be when Maul and his organizations has returned to a point of being a threat again. Valid. Absolutely valid. I think it would not be out of the realm if we see him in the show, just knowing that, like, okay, Maul is alive and he might be a problem for us in the future. And be like, understood. Like, just that is all I need right now. I don't need Vader to show up in the finale and go head to head with Maul. No. You just show that Maul, that Vader acknowledges Maul's existence in this time period and knows that we might have to look into this deeply and not just throw the same Imperial goons to go after him. Jedi Ted PvT, only Crimson Dawn from Star Wars Outlaws game. Love their gear set. Nice. Imagine a Sidious TV show. I wish they would give us a Knights of the Republic. Again, y'all, still a lot of potential. I think be hopeful. The writers for Maul and Andor need to be locked in a basement and make to write Star Wars indefinitely. Listen, as much as I love all these creatives, I also want them to feel open and safe to do what they want and not just be locked in a franchise. Dan Gilroy right now, I think, is working on Tony Gilroy's film. I could be wrong. If not, he's working on the new Miami Vice movie. And so if Dan Gilroy wants to do some of this stuff and then come back to Star Wars, he is more than welcome. He is part of the family. He's part of the familia. Same thing with Matt Mignovitz. He's been consistently giving us great material. If he needs a moment of break or needs to go take a vacation, he's earned that for himself. Nonstop. Full stop. So yeah, I would love that these same creatives stay with us, because I think there's still, again, I've been saying this from some Mandalorian days. We have just tipped the iceberg. There's a whole lot we can do. We're doing a lot in the middle of the 20 years gap during Imperial Reign and then post era with the New Republic. But besides those two eras, there's still a whole lot in the future and a whole lot in the past to do. And so I say, stay hopeful, my friends. Stay hopeful. Again, he could send an apprentice. We don't know about it. It's possible. I agree, Griffin. I agree. Okay, folks. I'm going to give us like 3 more minutes, and then I'm going to call it, because I got to go start prepping stuff, because the penultimate episode as well for Daredevil comes out in a few minutes, and I got to prep for that stuff for my coverage. So you'll be seeing that soon. But if you have any closing thoughts or questions, please let me know. I've been having so much fun talking to y'all about this. This is great. Thank you all so much for spending time. Again, it would be nice to hang out with Brent and Kyle, but you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world and our personal lives, so we have to be like Watson, my friends. But the force is with the chat, and so I am happy to talk to them. Team that says May the 4th announcements and or Comic-Con could prove interesting for Star Wars. I agree. Thank you for bringing it up, T. Next Monday, you will definitely see a live stream from my channel. I don't know if that same stream will talk about Maul Shadow Lord, because I want to be able to do the finale with the boys or somebody else to be able to talk to them, because it's going to be a big deal of a finale. And so we might have to do May the 4th stream and then a Maul Shadow Lord stream on Tuesday. And I was also fortunate enough to sign up for the Mandalorian and Grogu preview event. I haven't been confirmed yet right now. That's still up in the air. But if I am confirmed, I am going to go see that preview. And so I'm going to have to either calculate the timing of either do a stream before the preview or after the preview. And also I'm going to be doing a video on the preview if I'm lucky to attend it, to talk about what I've seen of the film. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to be the same footage they showed at CinemaCon for all my friends there, which is a little bit of more extended stuff that I saw at Japan, which is one of the opening action sequences. And so I hope I get to see it in the big IMAX theater. And there's an old friend of mine that I used to talk to way back in the day, who I'm going to see if I can try to get them to go to the event with me if I'm lucky to attend it. And then maybe we might do something cool for both our respective socials. But yeah, Harrison James said that this show's been an absolute blast. I'm sad it's coming to an end next week, but each week has been better than better. Can't wait for the finale. Yeah, folks, it's wild. It's already been 4 weeks like that of just doing this weekly. That's wild to me. but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for anybody who's bothered to check out my channel, bothered to check out my reactions, my shorts, my live streams. It is, you know, it does mean a lot when I see at least one view or more. I'm like, wow, someone took the time to see my shit, my stuff. Wow. So that goes a long way, and I don't take it for granted. So I thank you so much for that. Really, truly appreciate it. But yeah, folks, I'm gonna start wrapping things up. Thank you so much for everybody who took the time to hang out and watch and converse. This is what I want to be able to do as more of my channel grows. When this can be my one of my main things to provide income and be something to help with stuff, because again, we live in the real world. I could fully express myself. I'm expressing myself right now, but I have this itch in my back, this feeling, this force feeling of like, if I can make this more consistently and the channel grows and grows and grows, I can have more friends and make more creators team up with me and me show up on their channels, they show up on my channel. It would be just ever present. It would be a delight. And I'm telling y'all, there's a lot of, trust me, just look at this stuff in my background. There's a lot of stuff I'm passionate about, and I have a lot of stuff to say. One of them being Star Wars. And yeah, next week should be a big deal. So don't be surprised if you see my coverage from Maul Shadow Lord finale, if you see a live stream from May the 4th, if you see potential coverage for Mandalorian Grogu's preview event. If not, I'm going to do a review and a live stream for the movie when it comes out. And something for when the Star Wars Celebration badges tickets go on sale. That is the next big hurdle to go through and make that obstacle go away and get my hotels. And then after Maul Shadow concludes, Mandalorian is the main focus. And then after that, it's Spider Noir. So if you are a fan of anything and almost all pop culture, please subscribe to my channel. If you like the stream, you like me talking about Star Wars with me or hearing me out, like the video, share the enthusiasm. That's what I've been saying. Spread the word out. Tell people at Lucasfilm, at ILM, at Disney, tell other creators like, hey, there's somebody else here who I like to think I'm decent and who's engaged, enthusiastic, and is passionate about stuff like Star Wars and down to express myself more and create new friends. And so yeah, guys, tune in, subscribe, be on the lookout. Please, even though the boys weren't here today, go watch my friend's coverage, Brent, Kyle Katarn. Go watch Busy's coverage on his channel. He's doing some awesome stuff as well. And go watch even some stuff that's not Star Wars. Go watch the Spider Noir stuff, the Invincible stuff, the Daredevil stuff. And but yeah, please, with what's going on in the world right now, for everybody, I know times are tough, but a new hope will emerge. I'm hopeful about that. Take care of yourselves. May the Force be with you. And this is the way.